Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my review of the 2002 comedy sequel, Friday After Next. Now, before I go any further sharing my thoughts on this sequel, I want to give a special shout out to Sylvia for requesting this review. And if there's another film, TV show, or topic that you would like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to my PayPal. The link will be in the video description down below, and I will try to get to it as soon as I possibly can. Now, Friday After Next is one of those sequels that represents diminishing returns to me. Next Friday was already an example of that, but that was still serviceable and okay enough that I could still watch it as a time waster. This, on the other hand, felt like a bad waste of time most of the time, and I really was not that into it. I would say this is easily my least favorite of the Friday films, and it's one that honestly I wouldn't really find myself watching again anytime soon. Part of the problem is, yet again, you don't have a director like F. Gary Gray behind the camera. This time around, you have Marcus Raboy, who prior to this directed nothing other than music videos, just like Jeff Carr, just like F. Gary Gray, directed a lot of rap videos. But Raboy is an even worse director than Jeff Carr, because Raboy didn't direct a single film after this. He directed some stuff for a TV show that nobody's heard of. I think it was called Streetwise. And then he did a shit ton of stand-up comedy specials for Netflix and for other platforms. And that's the most bare minimum for a director, is being a stand-up comedy special guy. So that shows you how talented Raboy is as his director, which isn't very talented at all. Yeah, he's got a job, good for him. He's doing these stand-up specials. Stand-up specials don't take that much talent. They don't take that much consistency as a director. You're just shooting one person, maybe the audience a few times, a few different angles for the stand-up comedian, and that's about it. Like, that is like one of the easiest jobs for any director in the industry, is directing stand-up specials. So it's something that pretty much any director who is worth their salt can do just as well as Raboy. And yeah, his direction in this is just really not that great. Yeah, Next Friday, Jeff Carr and his direction made the film look cheap, but this looks even cheaper. This looks like it was made for $1 million. Like, it's a very cheap looking film. Like, this looks like an episode, like a holiday special episode of a Friday sitcom on Spike TV. That's what this looks like. It looks like a very cheap, rushed movie with not really that much variety in terms of the setting, or the camera, or the techniques that are on display. Not a lot of movement, not a lot of ingenuity in terms of angles or zooms or pans or anything like that. This is a very stock, standard, static looking film. There were attempts to try to have energy and wildness and some flavor, and it just doesn't really come across anywhere near as energetic as Friday or even Next Friday. Just a pretty lethargic looking film, and Marcus Raboy's direction is a big part of that. And speaking of flat and uninspired, I think Ice Cube's screenplay is every bit as uninspired and flat as the direction is. At this point, Ice Cube really should have hired another writer, or just not written these films to begin with, because he's not that good of a writer on his own. Like, this is even lazier and even worse than his script in Next Friday. Like, the whole conflict is yet again Craig and Day Day have to raise some money by a certain point in time, otherwise they're going to get in trouble. This time around, they have to get rent money for the manager of the apartment, otherwise they're going to get evicted, or they're going to get their ass kicked. It's the same thing. They're going to get their ass kicked by somebody, or they're going to get kicked out of the house. So it's the same thing again. But this time around, it's really stale. And speaking of stale, you got not only one time where character references you got knocked the fuck out, but 2 times. Like, I mean, it was bad enough in Next Friday. Now you're doing it 2 times, Ice Cube? Come on, man. Show a little more effort. Try. Actually try to write a script. And I will give Ice Cube this. Having the holiday angle adds a different sort of feel to it. So there's at least a little effort there to kind of make it feel a little different than the first two. Because there really aren't that many Christmas hood movies. And also, I don't mind the idea of Craig and Day Day working as security guards. In fact, I have an idea about that for another video that I'm going to be doing soon. But I don't mind that idea. I like the idea of the strip mall. It takes things to a different setting, but it still feels like it's connected to the hood, unlike the suburbs. But I mean, you don't even stay in the strip mall that long. The script is in the strip mall for maybe 30 minutes, and then it just feels like the whole rest of the movie just takes place at the house party at the end, which is incredibly lazy. You have an opening scene that doesn't start things off that well, because yet again, Craig is a total punk. He gets robbed by the Santa Claus, and he gets his ass kicked again. Like, what is up with this? Why do you keep writing your character as a punk, Ice Cube? Why do you think audiences want to keep seeing Craig get punked? So yeah, he gets his ass kicked. Day Day doesn't do anything because we also got to write Day Day as a completely useless character. Nobody can progress. Nobody can evolve. Nobody can move forward as characters because now this is just a cartoon. And we're just watching another episode of the Friday cartoon. Like, this really felt like an episode of that Friday cartoon, that shitty Friday cartoon that came out in the 2000s. Like, everything is just so over the top now, and there's no sense of realism at all anymore. Like, even the intro of the movie is animated. And there's this whole subplot about this robber who dresses like Santa Claus, who's robbing the neighborhood, and he just gets hit by Pinky and gets knocked out, put up on top of the roof, tied up with Christmas lights, and that's about it. Like, what? Like, Craig and Day Day aren't even the ones that actually stop him. And there's a whole drama about them trying to raise money and them working as security guards because they're trying to raise that money. And they're working for this guy at Holy Moly Donut Shop who's just another caricature, another stereotype, but this time it's Middle Eastern. And there's this store that's in the strip mall called Pimps and Hoes, where you have this pimp named Money Mike who has this trick. Really, that's what she is. She's a trick of his. And she's fine. So Ice Cube's character, Craig Jones, wants to bang her, but because that's another plot, of course, when it comes to these Friday movies, that Ice Cube's character Craig just wants to bang some chick. Like, what happened with Nia Long's character in the first movie? Like, now he just seems to be just going from thought to thought, and you're just like, okay, all right, whatever, Craig. And the whole stuff with the money angle and the whole like, oh, you better get the money or Damon's gonna beat your ass, or beat your meat, because that's what seems like Damon is into. Because that's another bit of lazy comedy here from Ice Cube, is that, oh, it's funny because Terry Crews' character Damon, he was in prison for 12 years and now he likes guys. Isn't that funny? Not really. And especially not when you have a sodomy scene in the middle of a house party. Like, what the fuck, Ice Cube? So yeah, there's this whole conflict about, oh, Damon's gonna beat your ass, and you're gonna get kicked out of the apartment if you don't get the money. And it seems like Craig and Day Day don't really give a shit about the job that they're at. They don't take it seriously. Except Day Day does. He just takes it way too seriously. That's where you have a little bit of actual funny humor, but really it's more due to probably Mike Epps improvising than anything Ice Cube wrote. And they do this house party thing at the end, and they easily raise the money. Like they just have a charge at the door, and that's it. It was so easy. Like it was just a total afterthought, like Debo in Next Friday, where he's an afterthought in that, gets defeated super quickly after all this buildup. Same thing happens here with we got to get the rent money. Oh, let's just have a charge at the door for this house party. I mean, even Next Friday had a conflict that was seemingly harder to accomplish, because you had to sneak into the Joker's house and get the thing and so on and so forth. And of course, in Friday, it was definitely like that, because in Friday, there were a lot of different obstacles that were in Craig and Smokey's way. But in Friday After Next, just have a charge at the door. Lazy. Absolute laziness. And other than some of the stuff with the pimp character, Money Mike, and especially the scene where he turns the tables on Damon, there really isn't a lot that is like really that funny either when it comes to this script. Like, yeah, there's some stuff with Mike Epps, but even that, it seems like it's lacking. The whole stuff with Craig's uncle and his dad running a barbecue joint. Barbecue so good it'll make you want to smack your mama in the mouth. Like, it's like, okay, all right. You go from Friday, where there's this whole scene that is really dramatic to serious, where Debo is hitting Nia Long's character in the face, and now slapping mamas is peak comedy. Like, Friday After Next is a prime example of why these sequels are just so massively inferior to the first movie. Just got the wrong impression of what made the first film so great. There's no rawness, there's no realism. Everything is just comical. Everything is just total cartoon. And that's just not what I want out of a Friday film. And even the holiday angle, like, they do some stuff with it, but honestly, you could have swapped out Christmas for any other holiday and you could have had the same result. So yeah, not a good script. Like I said, the script for Next Friday wasn't really that good, and I still stand by that. I think for the most part it's pretty bad, but that had a lot more going for it than this script, because this script sucks. And the cast, I mean, it's not that great either. Like, Ice Cube once again slacking with his performance, going through the motions. Mike Epps doing the best he can, trying to carry the film, but he can only do so much. But he still is one of the few bright spots about this movie. Not the crazy old man with a shotgun, though. Like that bit that seemed like an outtake from In Living Color. Like, what was that? Mike Epps in old age makeup, shooting a shotgun. Like, that was lame. That wasn't funny. John Witherspoon is Willie. At least now he's not just one long shit joke, but the character still is very underutilized and not written that well, to the point where it doesn't even seem like he's the same character. Because I don't buy that he would be smacking his mother. The same guy who's giving advice to Craig about not using a gun and this is all you need. Like, yeah, that guy's going to be smacking his mom in the face. Full force. I don't buy it. It's not very believable. Elroy Jones, I don't buy him running a barbecue joint with his brother. They don't like each other. That was already established that they really don't like each other. So now they're going to run a business? You got Anna Maria Horsford as Betty Jones, the mother. I mean, some good acting, good comedic acting, some good physical comedy when she gets smacked in the face. I'll give her that. But other than that, there really wasn't much for her to do. Even going back to Don Curry, not much for him to do either. Just the same shtick about him just being antagonizing with his brother. And some weird scene where he's dressed up as Rudolph and there's like kids who were riding him. And then he has enough and I think he starts kicking their asses. It was just a weird scene. Clifton Powell as Pinky was fun to see him again. Uh, but I don't really have much to do. Like, why don't you just have like Pinky involved in one of the jobs at the strip mall or something? Katt Williams, I don't mind as Money Mike, especially the scene where he puts a clamp on Damon's balls. But honestly, a lot of his character is a character that you could just have replaced by Pinky. Why couldn't Pinky just be the one that's running the store, pimps and hoes? Be just as effective, just as funny, maybe even funnier. Uh, Bebe Drake, who plays Miss Pearly, the whole joke about her, she's fat, she's old, she's mean, and she has a mustache. And apparently she's got a wolf pussy, according to Mike Epps, which is one of the few lines that did crack me up. All right. There, Terry Crews. I like Terry Crews, and he tries so hard to make this character work of Damon, who was in prison for 12 years and comes out and likes guys. And there are some scenes where he does, because he's just that talented. Like the scene where he's giving Ice Cube and Mike Epps really tight bro hugs. And that was pretty funny. And then the whole scene where he's watching the Tupac video and then he's like dancing to it. That was funny. But the whole stuff with him wanting to sodomize Katt Williams, no, not funny. It was just hard to watch. Katt Williams, mixed bag. Some of his shtick was funny. Some of the lines he had cracked me up a little bit. I liked his energy. But there were other times where he's kind of annoying. Ricky Smiley, who plays the robber Santa. Like, come on now. Like, there was nothing to really say much about this character. I think he was intended to be kind of another crackhead. And I guess there's an alternate ending where he was stealing all of his stuff to give presents to his family. And Craig and Day Day make something work. And then the movie ends with them forgiving him and then winding up getting presents for his family. And I'm like, that is pretty bad. Like, that sucks too. I'm sorry. That just makes no sense. Does not fit with the tone of the film or tone of Friday. All of a sudden, he's just going to be this happy Hallmark card ending bullshit. I'm glad they cut that out. It would have made this bad film even worse. What can you say about Ricky Smiley? Like, he did a good job running, because that's pretty much all that his character did. What dialogue? What dialogue? Other than generic statements from a robber, there really wasn't much dialogue at all. Maybe a couple moments where he talks about, how he's like Neon Deion Sanders, and some stuff like that. But other than that, really not much to say. Same thing goes for like Katie Aubert, who plays Donna, the employee of Money Mike that Craig falls for. She's hot, but like, it's not much of a character there. Not much of a performance. I mean, her performance is just she's physically attractive. Okay, that's really not much of a performance. So yeah, not the best cast. Other than Mike Epps and Terry Crews and some of Katt Williams. And from a visual perspective, like cinematography by Glenn McPherson, it really contributes to the film looking super cheap, super rushed, super low budget. So does the editing by Suzanne Hines. And the film, like, it's 85 minutes. That's with the end credits. So it's barely even a movie. Like, this isn't a very long review because there isn't much of a film to review. There's the opening where Craig and Day Day get robbed. There's the stuff in the strip club or the strip mall. It's a different movie. Stuff in the strip mall, and then there's the house party at the end. That's it. That's all there is. And it seems like they went back to the hood, but kind of not. Like, it's not the same neighborhood as Friday. So I don't know. That's a huge missed opportunity to not go back to the same neighborhood. It's just some generic hood. And yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of thing where everything ends the same way. They raise the money, they figure everything out, everything's all good in the hood, and they have a Merry Christmas, and that's it. Like, even the music wasn't really that good. Like, the music in the first Friday is definitely the best soundtrack. I don't think I mentioned in Next Friday the soundtrack because I don't really remember as many songs, except one of them is You Dropped a Bomb on Me for some reason when Debo shows up, which is weird. But I'll take that song over anything in this. Generic holiday music I've heard a million times because I work in retail, which is still is painful for me to listen to. And then a score by John Murphy that just is so repetitive that it's irritating. And it's also loud and it's obnoxious. So, yeah, not much to say about the music. And I can't even believe this cost $10 million. This cost $10 million? Like, I couldn't really buy that Next Friday costs $11 million, but I definitely don't buy that this costs $10 million. This looks like it cost $1 million. It really does. Or less. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about next a Friday after next. See, I got my Fridays all mixed up now. Except, thanks for watching my review. And until next time, I'll see you later. See ya.